make sure you follow us on Facebook, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course, hit the bell to activate notifications that will remind you when we're on. Please be sure to leave us a comment to let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you.
For coming to our Chatting to broadcast, our weekly broadcast, and I'm excited about the broadcast today. We have some very distinguished gentlemen that will be my guest as we talk about the upcoming Fatherhood Conference. But before I get into that, I want you to go to your just do some housekeeping things. If you're on Facebook, please send us a note. Let us know that you're listening. If you're on YouTube, hit that little bell and let us know that you're watching. Thanks again for joining in, and we're going to get right into this conversation. But before I do that, I want to let them introduce each other, and we're going to try to go from there and have a Authentic Fatherhood Conference talk about this upcoming event. Again, my name is Glen Warren, and I'll be your host. First of all, let's have everybody introduce themselves. Start with Mr. Martin. Ben Martin, go back a long way.
Yeah,
to Cali.
Yeah, we sure do. I remember Glen Warren, and Glen, I'm so proud of you because of the fact you had an idea that you took from a dream to a reality and taking a tour of the studio. It's impressive, man. Proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So my name is Martin. I'm the program director. I lead a relatively new program for younger veterans struggling to reintegrate back into civil society out in Butner, North Carolina. My background is behavioral health. I have been working in the field now for well over 30 years. And I really enjoy it. And fatherhood is something that's near and dear to my heart.
All right,
Tony Craddock. I am coach here with Martin as far as the North Carolina Fatherhood Conference. Happy to be here, Mr. Warren, with Dr. Warren. I've been affiliated with the conference since 2016. I've been working in social work as a human services professional for the last 25 years. So, and then, of course, being a father myself and a grandfather, I have a strong passion for fathers.
Cool. Well said. And Mr. Vince.
Well, first of all, thanks for having us here. I noticed how you've grown, and kudos to you. And much like you, fatherhood is near and dear to our hearts as well. My name is Vincent Johnson, and I'm the director of Day-to-Day Dad's Fatherhood Engagement Program out of the Family Resource Center in South Atlantic. I'm a retired police officer of 25 years here in the city of Raleigh. And during my tenure as a police officer, I noticed how there was an absence of fathers and how it affected the young people. So I was blessed enough to get in this position with Family Resource Center as the director of Day-to-Day Dads, so I can try to help out in that area.
Yeah. So, Mr. Tony, give us a little background about you, your fatherhood work. You as a father. Just tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm originally from Fayetteville. I've been here in the Raleigh area since 2000, working in human services, doing father engagement, family engagement work as a human services professional. I do have a 33-year-old son. I do have a 2-year-old grandson. I just spent the past weekend with them and just creating some positive memories. And I definitely encourage and I want to celebrate other fathers and let them know that it's okay to be a loving father and also to spend time with your children creating positive memories and pour it into your children.
Cool. Okay. All right, Vince, we do what you make.
I said, I'm a retired police officer, and I've been with Family Resource Center in this position as director since October of 22. So as of recently, we've had the opportunity to take the program into Wake County Jail. Mm-hmm. Sheriff Rowe allowed me to start doing my classes there, just so I can try to reach some fathers that are there and try to get them to understand. Although at this point you are here, all right, but when you get out of this place and you get out of jail, you have to pick up that fatherhood role,
right?
and show your children that although you made this mistake, you can move on from it. So it is, some of the guys do really, once we get into the program, they understand that self-worth, because I think sometimes men as fathers, some men don't understand that self-worth as fathers and how they have a positive impact. There are numerous statistics to show how an involved father affects the outcome of your child directly.
Yeah.
But a lot of men don't realize that.
Yeah. I want to say to the audience, if you're listening, watching the podcast, please go out and contact some of you fathers that maybe need to listen, lead into the conversation, maybe need some encouragement. So I would just take this moment to call them and chat with them and have them come and join us. So, fatherhood obviously is a very important part of all of us. And, Martin, before I let you speak again, I've been working on this project now calling Bringing Them All the Way Home. So when guys coming home from in prison, we got this checklist. You make sure you see your police officer, make sure you're staying clean, make sure you come to class, make sure you're getting a job, and make sure you find employment. But we have a connect to help them come into their roles as fathers. And one of my things I really want to talk to the reentry right about, it's okay to do all those things, but unless we can really help them connect with their fathers, we're not bringing them all the way home. There's a part of them still left there because we're not helping them reconnect with their kids. And sometimes that's one of the important parts. They keep them sober. I keep them for their criminal behavior because somebody now is waiting for me. Somebody now is I'm responsible for it. So we have to help them reconnect back to their kids. So Martin, tell us about
Well, there's a few things that we know. One is we understand if the father is in the life of the child, there's a good chance that that child will complete at least high school.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there's a better chance that child will not be dipped in the criminal justice system. What we also understand about fatherhood is that there's also a good chance if it is a daughter, there's a good chance that she will not get pregnant prior to completing high school. But having said that, not everybody knows their father or has a good relationship with the father. So what you're talking about, I call it in some respect reparenting, but really what it is offering mentorship. Because if you don't have a father, if you've got a male figure that is strong, that's going to stand in the gap,
right,
then we're getting somewhere because of the fact that relationship, and I don't mean to cheapen fatherhood, but if your father is not there, having that mentor, having that role model there to guide you is just as priceless as having a father.
Right. Which is important because, fathers pass away. Things happen. And not knowing your biological father, it's not the end of the world.
That's right.
Especially when you got people in the community that can talk and help mentor you and help you be the man that that you need to be or were born to be. That's why it's so important. That's why I think what you guys are doing with this Fatherhood Conference is so important. That we encourage you men, fathers from all races, from all economic backgrounds, to come and understand what fatherhood is. Because we teach a lot about other things, but fatherhood is one of the things that's kind of like we're supposed to know what to do all the time. For let them figure it out. Well, we need help. Y'all know that just as much as anybody else does. And a lot of times what we're doing is we're cleaning up the aftermath of fatherlessness. And, we're working but we haven't did a whole lot with the prevention. And that is providing tasks and things that fatherhood needs. So in this conference, tell us a little bit of history about the Fatherhood Conference that you guys go on. I think it's June the 7th.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that.
The North Carolina Fatherhood Conference 2025 will take place on June 7th at the Life Enrichment Center. It's off of Tar Heel Club Drive in East Raleigh, part of the Wake Chapel Church area. Mm-hmm. on that campus. We're all about educating, supporting, and celebrating fathers. So that's the purpose of our program. We have several innovative workshops, health and wellness pavilion, Matter of fact, our theme this year is the well-being of fatherhood, mentally, physically, and financially. And so we have a wonderful array of workshops. We talk about mental health, we talk about physical health, and we talk about financial health for your family, as well as family dynamics. So we have 4 different subject matters that we'll take care of on June 7th.
So tell me about some of the workshops.
The workshops will include some of the staff from Family Resource Center South Atlantic. They'll be hosting the workshop. We have some mental health professionals that will be hosting 2 workshops. And then we'll also have someone from the father engagement team with Wake County Human Services doing some workshops as well. Also, we'll have a medical doctor on staff that will be doing some information about taking care of yourself as far as the medical well-being and physical health well-being.
How many years have you been doing this?
The actual conference itself, this is the 12th year that we've done it. And we were definitely looking forward to the next couple of years to definitely make sure we incorporate whatever the trends are that are affecting fathers and fatherhood. So we'll also have some political update. We'll have someone from the state legislature come and talk to us about fatherhood and father engagement and what that means as far as on the state level and what we can do to better enhance that as well.
And Dr. Warren, is another thing that we know. What we know is that as men, a lot of times, we're not readily willing a lot of times to get that annual physical. We're not willing when something hurts. A lot of us would just let it go and say, to get better, let me take a BC powder or let me take some Advil or whatever and just, so to speak, just work through it. Well, the beautiful thing is the Family Resource Center, and once again, we're talking years ago, saw a need to bring fathers together, not just to celebrate, as Tony said, also to educate. And so we're also going to have vendors that are going to be there. And these vendors are going to be talking about health. They're going to have a wide variety of different services that are provided in our community that men may not know about,
Right.
but they need to know about. Because when we talk about health disparities, it's a real issue. It is killing people. Right. And so when you say knowledge is power, that's true, but only if that knowledge is used. Right. And when we talk about offering this conference, this is our move to say, here's knowledge, let's put it into practice, let's use it. And once again, we can't say enough about the Family Resource Center because of the fact of the two like Tony has mentioned, Tony and I are the co-chairs, and we've been co-chairs now. This will be our 2nd year. But the individuals before us, Derek Bird and Ken Perry, they're, so to speak, the grandfathers of this. And so we're following their lead with the goal of making the conference even more better. I mean, one thing that I would like to see, we have women's empowerment. It's huge.
Right.
We have people from all over that come into this area for it. What I would like to see with a men's empowerment, that we get the same draw, but we're working. Last year we had, what was it, Tony, like over 300?
Yes.
Over 300 attendees. And so we're hoping that we're going to grow that because men are important too.
Right. Which was my next question. How do we get men to come out? Women's empowerment, they flock to women. Men, it's another issue. How do we get that to, we can have a lot of projects going on, but getting the men to motivate to come is the thing we've been struggling with for a long time, for 15 years.
Yes.
So what are some things you guys are doing to get this word out?
Well, one of the things we're doing that I'm very excited about is one thing is called the Barbershop Buzz.
Yes.
And Barbershop Buzz originated back in 2012, something President Obama started in underserved neighborhoods. Uh-huh. So we go into the shops. We have one set up this Saturday at Andre's Barbershop off of Old Wake Forest Road for 9:30 to 11. We would love if anyone listening is able to join us. And we're also going to have one the following Saturday at Diamond's Cuts Barbershop in Garner, starting at about 9:30 also. So if anyone listening out there would love to join us in some very intentional conversation with men, we would love to have you. I'm just going to piggyback on something that Martin said. He talked about some statistics and how fathers' involvement. Let me just rewind for a second. The date for this Saturday is
The 24th.
24th. And that's going to be at 9:30. So it's going to be May 24th.
Okay.
And the following one is going to be May 31st.
Right.
9:30 at Diamond Cuts and Gardens. Okay.
Then you give thanks for those dates.
So one thing he talked about some statistics. According to the National Fatherhood Initiative, one statistic for when we're talking about fathers being involved, this number is amazing here. Boys are 279% more likely to get involved in criminal activity if the father's not involved.
Yeah.
279%. Jeez. So that tells you our value as fathers. Young ladies, on the other hand, if a young lady is a product of an absentee father, she's more likely to be involved with a man that's going to be an absentee father. Right. But conversely there, for children that have fathers that are actively involved, they're more likely to achieve A's and B's. Mm-hmm. They're more likely to go to college, less likely to get involved with the criminal, with criminal activity. So we have to realize that as fathers. And so hopefully with the barbershop buzz and getting the word out like this, we start to realize our value, and we'll attend things like the Fatherhood Conference. Because you're right. Man, I would love, Martin, that's a great comparison, Martin, that I would love for us to grow to the point of women's empowerment. Because women, they understand their worth.
And they come out. And
yes.
A lot of times we don't go to the doctor until stuff stop working.
Right.
We keep putting it off, and it's just for my nature.
Well, one thing we do, unfortunately, we are, when it comes to, we are 49% of the United States population. Well, we make up 85% of the suicides.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We have a class that we do with statistics,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk about like 80% of people who commit suicide come from fatherless homes.
Mm-hmm.
And 8 out of 10 people is men.
Mm-hmm.
And when we give up on life, we don't, we reflect and tell you we depressed, that we sad. We just, and I just saw Jimmy last week, he was fine. And all of a sudden you find out that he just ate a bullet.
Yeah.
Because we don't talk about our pain. And I think that's what Fatherhood Conference is. And that's what they did that program, the For My Father Forever, allow me to come in and to have that conversation and to talk about that pain and get it out. And that's the healing that starts. When a guy has come to our program, when they first get here, they're sitting there like this. They don't want to be there. But by the time the third or fourth class, they're engaging. I call that the power of shared experience. Because they see, I'm not the only one that's going through this. My other brothers are going to do the same thing. At the same time, they correct one another's behavior.
Yeah, and you bring up something that's very important. A lot of time as us men, there's a feeling that either we're alone, nobody understands, or we need to go it alone. And that is a prescription for unintentional or unnecessary suffering in silence.
Yes.
And so one of the things, for example, last year at the conference, one thing that I witnessed was multiple men having what we call aha moments.
Yes.
Where they heard somebody else speak about something, or there was a topic that they were drawn to, and they're sitting in the classroom and they're listening to this, and all of a sudden they're saying, "Oh my God, I had been feeling that way for 20 years. I never said anything to anybody, but what you said really resonates with me." And you could see the weight that they had just going away.
Yes. And that's what men need. That's the platform that I thank God that you guys are doing that and have been doing for 12 years and had great success, because men have been coming out and I put, one of the guys in our class a few years ago, he was struggling with his new wife, well, the ex-wife got a new husband now. Now he feel like he's feeling left out.
Yeah.
Because the new husband now is taking the place of him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he asked that question, he was shaking at that question, but there were 10 other men in that group that were feeling the same thing he was feeling. And that one question took on our conversation about what some of the things he need to do. Instead of getting angry, kind of get to know this man. You ain't got to go out and play golf with him, but y'all working for the same goal, and then to make sure your son or your daughter. So now he got two daddies instead of one. Instead of y'all fight one another, and so that's one of the things I'm sure that Vince, talk about some of the things that you talk about in your day-to-day classes.
Well, we start out with the characteristics. One is self-awareness, because we have to know our strengths and our shortcomings.
Yeah.
And we talked about care, self-care. We have to know we have to take care of our health mentally, physically, and emotionally, because they all work together. And then we talk about fathering skills and parenting skills, basically co-parenting skills. You got to learn to co-parent,
right.
you know. And lastly, talk about communication, how to communicate with that other parent, how to communicate, work with your community, you know, because you want to be an example. You're your child's first role model. Right. You're the first teacher. You're the first everything. Right. You know what I mean? So it's important to be impressive to that child.
Right.
You know, because I've talked to my guys in the jail. I said, your child is going to do what you do. All right. You continue this type of behavior.
Right.
They're going to be here too.
Right.
I had one guy in there, like I said, I'm a retired police officer. I know his father and his grandfather. They had been locked up. Yeah. Now he's locked up.
Yeah.
So I said, man, you got to break this. I told him, you got to break this.
Right.
You know, so with that being said, we work on soft skills with our day-to-day dads, how to communicate, how to show your feelings and handle your feelings. Because as men, pretty often, we show our feelings as anger.
Yes.
You know, because we don't want to show that we're hurt.
Right.
You know, we don't want to shut it. Man, my son got married on 24 April. My wife said I got the ugly face one time crying. But man, I felt good. Those are tears of joy.
Yeah.
You know.
And we don't stress ourselves like that. Because we don't supposed to cry.
No.
That's, you know, and when I first got my job with the county, I'm been coached, you know, the social worker council, whatever his title was, senior practitioner. And I'm doing an evaluation with this guy. This guy is as big as I am. And I asked about his father. And he started crying. Boom, crying. So as a young therapist, I didn't know what to do. So I immediately got tissue balls, gave it to him. He shut down. Shut up. Stop crying. And then after it's all over, my supervisor was training me. She said, Glenn, let me ask you a question. Why'd you give him that tissue bottle? And I was like, he was crying. She said, I know that. I think they had started and I was crying. Why'd you give it to him? I said, because he was crying. She said, okay, think about where you go. I go home, go to sleep. It kind of frustrated me a little bit. I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning. The reason I gave him that tissue box, because I, as his therapist, was uncomfortable him crying ass. And I would say to him, shut up. And as soon as I gave him that tissue box, he stopped. Because we don't allow men that place to cry and hurt. We do cry. We do hurt. We got tear ducts because God gave us tear ducts. So we're supposed to cry like everybody else. But we've been taught so many times. And that's why I thank God for the conferences like this that allow me to come in and hear these authentic conversations that you're supposed to hurt. You do right. But you're supposed to let people know that you're hurting. You know, and we don't have to be a whip. I'm not talking about being a what to be quiet about everything. And we have to be strong. We have to go to the door at 4 o'clock in the morning. But somebody knock on the door, you shaking in your boots, but you don't see your wife there. So we got to do stuff in boldness. But at the same time, we need that place where we can cry, we can vent, and we can get help. Because if we all one day, it's going to explode, blow our stack.
We got to be vulnerable also.
Misery is optional.
Yeah.
It starts with awareness. Yes. You're aware, and then if you know what is needed, but you can't provide it for yourself, reach out to someone who can.
Right.
And a lot of times people won't do that. The old story or adage that if I pick the phone up, it's like I picked up a 10,000-pound weight because of the fact it's so difficult for me to ask for help. And what we're saying is lift. What we're saying is grow, explore, take risks.
Right.
Because the benefits are priceless.
Right.
The idea of having peace of mind, of being able to know that you've done the best you could by your standards, that has value.
Right.
Not by anybody else's standards. So long as you're moving forward and you're doing what's necessary to improve yourself or the lives of your family, that's called progress. It's never about perfection.
Right.
And a lot of times what happens in parenting is people get hung up on that. And when we have holidays in particular, the belief is as a father, oh, you got to provide. But once again, if your struggle has been going, say, 6 months or a year prior to Christmas, providing is going to look different for you. But then there's this shame and the guilt that can come on. And so, unfortunately, what a lot of individuals do in that situation is they run.
Right.
And running isn't going to solve anything. It's just going to be a temporary fix that's going to wind up being a bad decision.
So what are some of the things you guys want to get out of this conference?
We want to normalize that conversation like you're talking about, Dr. Warren, about having that conversation about emotional intelligence. Retraining ourselves as fathers, as men, that it's okay to have emotions, to show your emotions, communicate that. So we want to normalize that. So at the end of the conference, after you went to several workshops and whatnot, you're motivated to have those conversations continue outside of the platform that we provided. So we want to get that conversation started so we can continue on to get that healing done, as you've indicated before, but also to open you up and allow you to be poured into. Because, just like you said, even if you didn't have your father in your life, it's also about having tangible role models. Yes. You may connect with another father at the conference, or someone that you've known all your life, or whatever the case may be, but they're a tangible role model for you. So, and that hopefully we want our fathers to leave motivated to continue conversations beyond the conference itself. And that's one thing that we've talked about, is having activities throughout the year, not only at the conference itself, but maybe monthly Fatherhood Fridays or events each month to lead up to the culmination of the conference each year.
And that's to kickstart, to get men to the table, but it should go on a monthly basis.
Exactly.
To make sure these men have this platform that we can talk.
Exactly. There's too many events that happen that really should turn into movements.
Yes.
And our goal is for this event, the conference that's happening once again on Saturday, June 7th, at the Family Life Enrichment Center. What we are hoping is that will be an event that men will attend. They will become inspired, not necessarily because of a speaker, but because of the environment that embraces them, to understand that they have value, that they have something that can contribute. And so the movement will start because, as Tony just mentioned, we're talking about continuing throughout the year, having a variety of different venues for men to come together, for men to talk, for men to, most importantly, feel safe, to have those crucial conversations that maybe they don't feel comfortable having with their current circle of friends, or maybe they're having it with, say, a bottle or a drug or anything like that. That's not a solution. That's a Band-Aid. We want solutions. And so with this conference, we believe it creates the foundation for solutions to be built on top of it. And once again, we can't say enough about the Family Enrichment Center, because they, the Life Enrichment Center, because of the fact they have given us the foundation to build upon by being generous of allowing us to use their space. And Family Resource Center also, they're strong believers in this. I mean, we're in double digits for this. And it wouldn't have continued to happen without the strong work and effort of the individuals that are in charge. I mean, Vanessa Hickman, for example, is the current acting director. And she is very much committed to making this happen. And it's just something that it's beautiful.
I was just on the phone with her a few minutes before y'all got there, talking about the conference. I know Vanessa for the last 20 plus years. We worked together at the county. And then she started doing her thing. I was doing my thing. But she is so motivated to keep this going. And my hats goes off to you guys for really supporting this. And, I think, fatherhood is a conversation that needs to be elevated, that really needs to be, and you guys are doing that, to making sure that these conversations are heard on a regular basis. So I want to thank you for 12 years of doing this conference. And I know and I've been almost to all of them. I think one or 2 years that I didn't go, but I've been to almost everyone. And every do, I come back with something. It's like somebody mentioned, you have an abracadabra moment. You have a moment where the light bulb clicks on. Wow. That's my role. That's my responsibility. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. I am a father. I am, and a lot of times men, we lose that because of the battle that we fight on a regular basis. I'm not saying that women don't do it, but a lot of times we lose that motivation. And that's why I'm so thankful to be able to talk about this conference. And I really want everybody who's under the sound of my voice today can say, please come out to this conference June the 7th at 9 o'clock. 8:30. You tell me what's going on that day. Tell me about what the plans.
We plan on having breakfast.
Breakfast, okay.
And then we also plan on having a panel discussion with noted professionals to address mental health, physical health, financial well-being, as well as family dynamics. So we'll have a panel discussion. Then we also have a political update from one of our local or state level politicians to come and discuss some things with us. And then we'll also have our breakout sessions. We'll have 2 scheduled breakout sessions.
Okay.
And at that point, we'll discuss the topics that we already discussed: mental health, physical health, financial well-being for the family, and also family dynamics. So we'll have professionals in all of those different fields to come and speak to us. Our keynote speaker this year is the Dr. Taylor, got his name, the school superintendent.
Oh, okay.
So he'll be the keynote speaker. He'll come in and bring us words of wisdom in regards to fatherhood, and of course how that affects the current status of the educational system as well. And then at that point in time, I'll also crown our Father of the Year with nominations as well.
That was exciting.
Yes, and then we also have our trailblazers that are community figures that are doing the work as far as engaging fathers. So yeah,
I was one of the first trailblazer you guys gave it 12 years ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You set the bar high, Doc. You set the bar high.
Okay, to that point, I think we're sitting here, all 4 of us are trailblazers.
Yes. I was blessed enough last year.
Yeah.
And pardon not the year before, so we're 2 years in, and of course you're the OG as indicated before. Yeah.
So I think Rich, you and I is going to be doing it.
Yes, we're going to do a workshop. It's what it really means to be a man.
Yeah. Okay.
There are a lot of precepts out there as far as what a man really is, and we've got to debunk some of that stuff.
Yes.
We are men. We're strong. But at the same time, we're vulnerable at times. So sometimes when we're vulnerable, we got to let people know that so we can deal with it appropriately. We also got to understand our self-worth, because as I told you before, you've heard this before, you'll hear it again. There are 2 words that I never ever used in my lifetime, and that was thanks, Dad. Every child should be in a position where they can say thanks, Dad.
Wow.
And it's too many children
They can't.
that can't say that.
I remember when you first shared that was powerful then and it's powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah. Those 2 simple words. I was riding in the car with my sons, and we had some good berries, and they're about 20 years ago. So now they're like 31, 33. But nonetheless, we're riding, and in unison, they said, thanks, Dad. And they said it a million times before that. They about 10 and 12 at the time. But it dawned on me, man, that's 2 simple words that I never used before. So with that being said, each and every child deserves to be able to say that, and each and every father needs to understand his work so he can put himself in a position to say that. Simple words. You want to hear from your father that, son, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
You want to hear those words. You want to be able to say, thanks, Dad.
And then when we change a man, we change the generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What you just said about earlier about the father, the grandfather, and the son, or the grandson now.
Yes.
Because that pattern is still going on for generations.
Yes.
But once we can break that pattern.
And I've talked to that young man.
Not just for him, but you break that generational curse.
I've talked to him. I want him to realize that, because right now, he's young. I don't think he realizes it.
Right. And then if I could add to that, Vince, I actually called my father this past Sunday and told him I'm proud to say that he's my father, and I thanked him for being the phenomenal father that he is.
Wow.
And of course, him being the father, what's going on? What's wrong? What's the situation on the spot? So
yeah,
it was a realization. Like I said, I spent this past week here with my son and my grandson, and it was a realization that my son and my grandson reminded me and affirmed for me the significance, the importance, and the joys of fatherhood.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to let my dad know that he poured into me, that allowed me to pour into my son. And I saw my son poured into my grandson.
That's beautiful. That is so powerful. And I know we have to wrap up. I got the 3 questions. But we answered everything we supposed to. I wanted to highlight the conference, and I think we did it. And I want to encourage the listeners. I want to encourage our friends to please come, be a supporter. I know sometimes as men, we got honey-do lists. We got a million things to do, but we gotta come out. We gotta pour into ourselves because you can't keep giving. Exactly, like receiving thing.
Yeah, I'd just like to leave the audience with a couple of thoughts. One is that if God gives us the gift of waking up, we have a responsibility to show. And with that, showing up could start by attending the conference. It's free. It's Saturday, June 7th at the it's the Life Enrichment Center. And we hope to see you there because once again, it's not about you inspiring others, but you never know what you might say that might make a difference in somebody's life. So show up and make a difference.
Yeah. So Vince, give us those dates again for the barbershop ball.
May 24th. It's going to be at 9:30. It's going to be at Andre's Barbershop on Old Wake Forest Road, right beside the Con Key. That's this coming Saturday. And the next one, we're going to be at Diamond Cuts Barbershop, and that is May 31st. And that's going to be at 9:30 also, and that's located in Garner. So we look forward to it. We have some very engaging conversation. And sometimes, and Tony can attest to this, when we have those barbershop buzzers, it's almost guys who are just waiting for a venue like this. And they just start to pour out. Yes. I mean, they start to pour out things that we don't expect sometimes, but you can tell it's been burning and been on their mind, so it goes over really, really well most of the time.
Yeah, I want to close about this story real quickly. We, a bunch of guys from my church, went to a movie a few years ago. And this movie, nobody saw this, but the end of the movie was a tearjerker. Nobody saw this scene coming. But when it did, it made everybody cry. And all of a sudden, everybody's crying, but somebody cut the light on. And when it did, you see all of us try to wipe our eyes at the same time because we didn't want each other to see that we were. That's right. Because, I didn't see this. It was a good movie, but I didn't see the way that's, and we all, so that the point is, we supposed to cry, y'all, but we got to create that platform where we can cry safely. And that's why I am so important. And I thank y'all again for putting on this conference and Vanessa for spearheading this and making sure that everything is going together and make sure this conference is going to go on for years to come. So give me that platform to let's start this conversation at this conference. But during the week, during the month, let's continue that conversation, right? And so again, I want to thank Lord for coming and Tony and Vince for coming in and talking about this Fatherhood Conference, the 12th one. Please, audience, please come and join us. We'll have breakfast, we're going to have lunch, we're going to have some keynote speakers. We're going to probably be some door prizes on this. It'll be
door prizes.
But all things is going to be good. It's going to be good fellowship. It's going to be good information that we can make our lives better, our family lives better, and our community better. So until we meet again, I'm going to say real connection, real change. And I want to say to everybody, please join us next time. Call your friends, call your loved ones, tell them to listen to this podcast and send it out to everybody. Until we meet again, I'll say so long.
Take part in the Dads at a Distance initiative by giving a copy of I Am a Father Forever to a friend or family member, or host a reverse book signing at your business, church, or organization. You can also contribute by joining the Fathers Forever monthly donor membership program. By becoming a monthly donor, you're directly contributing to the success of Fathers Forever programs and the men we serve. Choose the level of support that's right for you and enjoy exclusive perks designed to connect you to our mission and impact. For more information about this or any other method of support, please visit our website at www.afatherforever.com/donate.
Hello, everyone. This is Glen Warren, founder and executive director of Fathers Forever. I want to share an alarming reality with you. 627,000 fathers are incarcerated that have kids under 18. Now, there are 56,000 moms incarcerated who have kids under 18. The reality is there are so many more fathers incarcerated than moms. This is why I Am a Father Forever book exists. Now, I need your help. I am inviting you to help us get this book into as many fathers incarcerated as possible. Here's how it works. For your donation of $22, we will provide a book to an incarcerated father. Thank you in advance for helping Fathers Forever heal fathers and save families.